Hey guys, whether you're trying to eat clean or just a little bit healthier, or maybe you're trying to save a little money and not order out so often and you want to do a little cooking in your own kitchen, I'm here to tell you some tips, especially if you're a beginner, but even if you're not a beginner. My name's Jen Sabotin of Fuel Your Transformation, and I've got 5 new tips for you tonight. If you missed episode 1, please go back and take a look at it. There was some good information there, but we've got 5 new tips tonight to help you out in your kitchen. So the first one I want to talk to you about is herbs, fresh herbs. So we're talking things like parsley, cilantro, dill, that sort of thing. And how to store it. So here's what happens. You go to the store and you're buying some of those fresh herbs. So I don't mean spices in a jar in the spice aisle. I mean fresh herbs like a live plant. And generally at your store they're going to be in an area that has a little misting system. And that's to keep them, hydrated and fresh while they're sitting there at the store. But here's what usually happens. Here's the problem. You buy them at the store, you stick them in one of those plastic bags, you bring them home and toss them in the fridge, and then they sit there till you're ready to use them in a recipe. The problem is, you go back a day or two later, and you've got this bag of green slimy stuff instead of nice fresh herbs. So, here's a suggestion. This will work well for you, especially with soft herbs, things like parsley, cilantro, dill. So when you get it home from the store, take it out of that bag, rinse it off, okay, and then spread it out on a towel or a paper towel to dry it off. Once it's dry, you're going to take it and put it in a little glass with water. So I've just got a small glass here. This happens to be cilantro, and I've had this for almost a week now, and it's nice and fresh. Once you get it in there, put a little bit of water in there, set it on your kitchen's windowsill or countertop, and it'll stay fresh. You can just pick off the leaves, as many as you want to use. You have it fresh. Just make sure that the water level stays high enough to keep the stems in there, so you may have to add it over the course of the week. But this keeps it nice and fresh, and if anything does start to go bad, you can easily see it and just pull that one out. So fresh herbs, you're making like a little bouquet, like a little flower bouquet of your herbs. So this will help keep it nice and fresh. You may have heard, if you're getting ready for cooking here, that maybe it's good to freeze some meals. That seems to be a popular topic these days, freezer meals. And so here's the tip for freezing things. First of all, you want to make sure that you're getting freezer bags. You're going to know that they're freezer bags because they say freezer on them. And the reason that that's different than just a regular sandwich bag is it's a heavier gauge of plastic. So it's a freezer bag, and again, it'll say freezer usually right on it and for sure on the box. But when you're putting your items that you want to freeze in here, see this little line right here? That's not like just a pretty decoration. That's where you're supposed to write. So you get yourself a Sharpie, or even actually a regular ink pen will work. I prefer a Sharpie because you don't have to press real hard. But all you're going to do is label it. So put what the stuff is that's going in the bag. So what are you putting in there? Is it soup? Is it chili? What's going in there? Put the date that you're going to freeze it. And then if you have any specific instructions that you need to put on there, you can write them on there as well. So make sure you label it, and that way you know how long something's been in the freezer. You know when to use things up, use the oldest stuff first. Here's another little tip when you're freezing things. When you put it in the freezer, lay it flat like that. So if I had chili or soup or something in there, I don't want to stand bags of it up, because here's what's going to happen. That liquid is all going to come to the bottom, and it's going to be like that. And then you've got these blobs of crazy shaped stuff that go everywhere. So just lay it flat like that in your freezer, and then you can stack lots of them and like little bricks. That's a better way to store them in the freezer. The next tip has to do if you are cooking meat. So if you're cooking something like a steak, a pork tenderloin, a roast, a chicken or a turkey, something like that, when you're done cooking it, you need to let the meat rest. All right, and here's what I mean by that. It has nothing to do with the meat, taking a spa day or anything like that. It just needs to rest so that it can reabsorb the moisture that's in it. If you've ever had a steak and you take it off the grill or you take it out of the oven and you put it on the counter and slice right into it, all this juice runs out. And here's where people make the mistake. They see all that juice and they're like, oh, look, what a juicy steak I have. Well, it's really what a juicy steak you had, because now all the juice is out on the plate and your steak is dry. So what you want to do is bring it out of the oven or the grill and then let it sit on the counter for a few minutes. If it's a steak, something like maybe 3 to 5 minutes would be good enough for it to reabsorb. A bigger piece of meat like a roast or a pork tenderloin is going to take a little longer, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And then of course a turkey is going to be even a little bit longer than that. You can put foil over the top if you're worried about it losing heat or getting cold, but just let it sit there for just a few minutes to reabsorb that moisture, and then you'll have a nice tender piece of meat to enjoy. The next tip has to do with some gadgets. Now yesterday I told you don't go gadget crazy, and I'm sticking with that, but you're going to need some gadgets. And one of the things you're going to need is measuring spoons. Now this is not a measuring spoon. A measuring spoon, this is what we call a spoon, a teaspoon, but it's a teaspoon like to stir tea. This is what you set at a place setting. This is not to measure. And they're not standard sizes between all manufacturers or all styles or types of spoons. So this is not to measure. This is to eat with. Measuring spoons are going to look like something like this. All right. And so what I want you to be aware of is to avoid the ones that are like this, plastic or kind of rubbery silicone-y. Avoid those, and here's why. They're really hard to clean. This was a set I used to have that I have gotten rid of, but I kept this one to show you. It's hard to clean. Stuff sticks to this. It's actually even a little staticky when you're trying to use it to measure out things like cinnamon or nutmeg or some of those powdery spices. Stuff sticks to it, so you're not getting an accurate measurement. So you definitely want to go with the metal measuring spoons. You can get them, they come, in a little ring like this, and there's all kinds of sizes, everything from a tablespoon, usually that'll go from a tablespoon down to a quarter teaspoon. This set actually was a gift to me because I didn't have it. This happens to be a dash, a pinch, and a smidgen, so really tiny ones. You don't have to have those are extra, but I just wanted to show you metal measuring spoons, not the rubbery plastic kind. And then the last thing has to do with some food that I want to tell you about and peeling them or preparing them. Now, I'm going to do a separate video in the intermediate series about actually like where I'll demonstrate cooking some of this. But I posted a recipe recently on my feed that was for fish tacos, and it had 2 ingredients that kind of confused people. It had mango and it had avocado in it. And that sent some people over the edge because they said, I don't really know how to deal with that or what those even are. So let me introduce you to an avocado. All right. So this is an avocado. If you're selecting an avocado at the store, when you pick it, you don't want it to be the bright green color, but you also don't want it to be super black. All right, so when you're picking it, you want it to be just starting to turn from green to black, and it should have a little give. Like you can press it a little bit with your thumb. If it's real soft, you don't want that. That's going to be bad unless you're going to use it like right away. So you want it to have just a little give to it. You don't eat the skin of the avocado, but here's the thing. You don't peel this. I had a friend who tried to peel it with a vegetable peeler, and it ended up like mashing the whole inside of the avocado. So I'll demonstrate it to you differently, but an avocado, all you're going to do is you're going to slice with that knife we talked about, slice it around all the way, and then you twist it into 2 halves, remove the pit, and you can scoop out the flesh, the part that you're going to eat. So that's an avocado. They're not difficult to work with. Another ingredient that people weren't sure about that was in there was ginger root. So this is fresh ginger. It is a root of a plant. And it has these little nodules. So if you were going to peel this ginger, you would just break off this little nodule right here and actually go ahead and use that spoon, that's the spoon that you would eat with. And to peel ginger, here's the deal. It's really hard if you're trying to peel it with a vegetable peeler or peel it with a knife or something like that. You end up cutting half the ginger off. It's very fibrous, so it's actually kind of hard to cut with a knife. A spoon is perfect. So all you're going to do is, oops, let me get that to the camera. You're just going to drag the spoon along the edges of it. Now I'm not putting any pressure because I don't really want to peel this right now, but just drag the spoon along the edge and that'll peel it for you nice and clean. And then the last thing I want to talk, oh, I got two more things. Let's talk mango. Mango was in that recipe. Here's the deal with mango. You can buy fresh mango at the grocery store in some seasons, all right? Mangoes are hard to peel or to deal with because they have a giant pit inside. And you only get what's called the cheeks of the mango. But if you're not familiar with mango, it's kind of hard to know which side of the mango that is. And again, I'll demonstrate that in a video when I do the avocado. But here's my suggestion to you. If you're new at cooking and you don't know what to do with the mango, do this. You can buy pre-cut mango. This is already peeled and chunked. Just check the ingredients because you want to be sure there's nothing funky in there. All this has is organic mango. That's it. So this is perfect. All you got to do is thaw it, and then depending on what you're going to use it for, if you need to cut the pieces smaller, you can. I used this for the salsa on my fish tacos the other night, and it was perfect. So super easy way to do mango. And then the last thing I want to talk with you about is garlic. So this is a garlic bulb. If you've never seen one before, this is what garlic looks like, and it would have, you know, a stem up here. It grows in the ground. And this is called the whole bulb. So this has a lot of little pieces in it, and you can see I took one out there. And the skin, let me pull a piece off, is super papery thin. I mean, it's crinkly. It makes kind of a mess when you're doing it. But this is what's called a clove of garlic. This is a little piece that came out of here. Now, a lot of people try to peel these cloves of garlic with a knife. They'll cut off the ends and then they try and peel it. But here's the thing, that papery skin and then the garlic inside get kind of sticky and it's all over your hands and it's making a mess. You can use this kind of garlic clove, and remember we talked yesterday about a knife, and all you're going to do is put it on a cutting board, put the knife on top of it like this, and then smash it. Okay, so imagine that my hand here is the cutting board. Just lay the clove of garlic there, put the knife blade flat like that, and then just give it a little smash with your hand, and that'll press it open enough that you can easily just peel that paper off. You don't have to worry about cutting anything. So that's one way, all right? But to be honest with you, here's another way, and like totally nothing wrong with this. You can buy garlic like this already pre-peeled from your grocery store. So this is a little plastic container. I don't know how many cloves of garlic are in there, but there's a lot. And you can just buy them already pre-peeled like that. That's so easy to use. And these, again, these are individual cloves, so this is what you get when you peel this guy. So here's the deal. Just buy these. It'll last in your fridge for over a week. I mean, probably even more than that. I don't know. We use a lot of garlic, so we usually get one every week or so. But there's nothing wrong with doing this. My husband and I call it lazy garlic. But it goes on the grocery list. And we're making the grocery list. I'm like, hey, do we need any garlic? He's like, yeah, pick up some lazy garlic. Because you can just use it. So it's great to, you know, dice up and put into soup, stews, salsas, all that kind of stuff. Saves a ton of time, makes it easy. And hey guys, that's what this is all about. Don't be afraid of being in the kitchen. There's a lot of ways that you can learn these simple tips to help it be a little easier for you to start cooking. And so hopefully you've learned something in this lesson. 5 easy tips about peeling, about your measuring spoons, about your freezer bags, rest the meat, and keep those herbs in a little bouquet. That's what I have for you guys tonight, so hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you again soon. I'm Jen Saboten.